when I went back and watched this game on Monday morning, I thought, oh, this is even better than I realized. They did a lot of things very well. This was what you're supposed to do. There's even more available yards there, and I'm glad Trey finally hit some big ones because that's going to get him going. Maybe that confidence gets going.
Yeah.
It's there, man. Now, they're not completely healthy, as we all know, on that offensive line, and that group is going to have to get better, continue to get better, and get healthier. For goodness sake, they got to get healthy.
Why do you think is it our fault that there's a feeling like the offense isn't humming the way people want it to be humming?
What's funny? I'm glad you brought that up because I was watching your guys smash. Not all of it. I wanted a taste. I wasn't watching the whole thing. I about 12 minutes. But I remember who does the producing where they put up the messages, like the chats.
Ben does,
yeah. So it's kind of fast and furious.
Right.
There's a lot flying there that y'all don't address much of them. But one of the comments was like, the reason we're so disappointed is, and I don't remember what the reason. We were told this is a great team, and I'm like, what? Where are we? This was just one person. I'm not saying the vast majority of Florida State fans are this way, but how are you disappointed after what I essentially was a 40-10 win? But even 39, you was a 22-point win, and you're 5-0 and number 4 in the country. Like, what do y'all expect it to look like?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a combination of what they looked like towards the end of last season.
Sure, offensively.
Yeah. And then the way they added a bit more pieces. And I think that the thought was, well, we saw what it looked like at the end of last season, and now you add Keon Coleman.
Well, and by the way, Keon lit it up on opening night with the nation watching. Keon Coleman was the best player on the football field against LSU. And so that wets the whistle in a way that nothing could. Like, they told us Keon was good, and look at this guy. He's head-topping bitches left and right.
And if you watch our content, if you read our content, the other websites out there that cover Florida State, there were times in the fall in the preseason where, like, man, this offense is the real deal. So I do think we probably played somewhat of a role in it, but I think it's a perfect storm.
Wouldn't you?
Where there's just a feeling that it should be the greatest show on turf, and it's been good, but
they're fourth in the nation scoring.
I'm with you, but it's a weird situation.
I get it. I also think what we have to take into account, because I've been thinking about this too, because it's not like I watched that game on Saturday and be like, this is an incredible offense.
No, but because they haven't put together 4 quarters.
Of 4 quarters. They put together incredible stretches, though.
Yes.
And when you look at the totality of it, they're 3rd in the country in yards or points per play. They're 9th in points per drive.
Yeah.
Like, they're not getting the ball a lot. And that's something we have to keep in mind, too. Like,
well, and this is why I got mad on Saturday. Not at them. I'm mad at the officials.
Yeah.
They did what they needed to do to get off the field.
Yep.
If you get off the field and they don't call the roughing, which is an asinine call, and that interception stands, I'm telling you, it's about to be. We all know it's about to be 29-0. At 29-0, Virginia Tech gives up. It is over, and you are going to get your 60-7 ass kicking.
Yeah, because even the drive they had after that, which was aided by some other calls, not calling crackback and everything else, they were still able to play the 6 yards, 8 yards, quarterback run, that kind of a drive.
If you're down 3 4th downs, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. If you're down 30 points in the second quarter, you can't do that anymore.
Can't do it.
Now it gets to 60.
It was all contingent on that asinine call.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, just to make people feel better, that's not a moment where officials just decided to be out to get Florida State. Look around. There were 4 that I counted that I saw on Saturday and 2 on Sunday where we've got officials trained to believe that any kind of a hit on a quarterback, if he's not holding the ball at the moment he's hit, is a penalty.
It's a late hit.
It's a late hit. You might as well call it. And God forbid it looks violent. I mean, even if you do it technically sound, say a quarterback is oblivious to the fact that he's been standing in the pocket for 4 seconds and probably should get rid of the ball or move his feet.
Yeah.
If you light a dude up from behind, center of the back, nothing illegal, they're going to call it when his head jerks back and he goes flying and it looks violent. They're just going to throw the flag. It's crazy. They've been told over and over and over again, when in doubt, throw the flag. So they just do. I get mad at them, but I don't even blame them. You know that's a mandate. It has to be.
Well, it's when you definitely don't want to get the stars like Kenyon Drones hurt.
My point is,
you got to protect. You know what I mean? Like, I get it when they're. I know.
It's crazy.
But they do it in the NFL because it's Tom. You don't want Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes to get hurt.
I'm saying they have all been told to a point where now it's hard to undo. The cat's out of the bag, man. They've got to go back now and retrain these officials. Like, we're not trying to be out here playing tag, guys. It is still football.
I actually saw, I can't remember what coach it was. There was a coach talking about it because there's another college coach that had it two guys were called for it this weekend in the same game.
Yeah.
And they had 2 calls, and the coach was saying, look, man, part of the problem is in practice, the quarterbacks are in non-contact jerseys.
Right.
So they
hit.
know, and the quarterbacks, the defensive ends and the linebackers know they can't really even get to the quarterback. They just got to peel off. They're not allowed to go right at the quarterback. So when they get into a game, they're not even like, there's not a way to practice holding up. You know, it's like they normally just go right by. Well, now they're running full speed at the guy because that's what you teach them to do. When you get in the game, you got to run full speed at him. You can't just. But how do they stop? There's no way to stop.
Yeah, what did Byron Turner supposed to do?
He did everything right. He did everything right. There's nothing wrong with that hit. There's zero wrong with that hit. I could watch it from 105 different angles. Are we playing football or are we not playing football?
So, again, and it might sound like we're making excuses, and I don't know what you make excuses for the 22-point win.
Yeah.
You won the game. You're 5-0, but you had that call. You had the non-DPI on Ja'Kai Douglas. That was a 3rd down that gives them a new 1st down. You had the questionable holding call on Roddick that made the Ja'Kai Douglas play even happen because Jordan had run for a first down. He had run for a 1st down on 3rd down. Then you have the crackback block that's not called. So a 40-yard gain becomes a minus 8-yard gain, which completely changes that drive. And they should have had a 2nd and 17, but Florida State gets called for a delay a game for changing a call by smacking their thigh.
Yeah, they said they were.
And the lineman lifts up, and
they were imitating the.
But they weren't.
Yeah, but that whole thing's a point of
they're doing that this year.
That was a big issue in the Syracuse game. Syracuse kept getting called for it, and they were saying the same thing.
It's also,
but it's defensive coaches are doing it on purpose because it works for them.
They screwed. We played somebody
because of that.
No, but we played somebody this year. They screwed the other team.
Syracuse.
No,
Boston College. Boston College.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they screwed them on that. And I remember thinking at the time, that's crazy.
But they were doing it like with calls, like yelling. They are literally smacking their thighs because it gets loud.
One of the times they said that he did it with his hand.
Oh, that's right.
So that they got to stop that too.
But either way, that was a collection of 5 game-changing calls.
Correct.
And I mean game-changing. They won the game, and they won the game big anyway. But like we're talking about, if it's 38-0 at the half, the game's over. You can get your young guys some real work. Right. Vandrevius Jacobs can go make some plays. Hakeem Williams can go make some plays. Instead, you're kind of in a dogfight. You're in a 2-possession game in the 4th quarter.
Well, at 22-17, there's real nerves that go along
and
with
then
that.
Johnny gets knocked out, and you're like, man, this game's getting dicey real quick now.
Now, luckily, they did, and you made the point, and I think it was a good one, that they were able to handle that adversity and bounce back and stay within the confines of the game plan, run the ball, make a big play, and take back control of the game when it looked like things were beginning to spiral a little bit. That is maturity. That's worth noting. I do think it's worth noting. I think that answers the original question, and we got to go to break, but that's the frustration, is that there's better in there.
Yeah.
And it's okay to point that out. There's better in there.
Knowing that you're not going to see it every week. No. You want to see it bubble up here.
Yeah,
you want to get a great 4-quarter performance. It might not ever come, and you might still go 12-0.
That's true.
But you'd like to see it.
And the time to do it would be against Miami and against Florida at the end of the year on the road. You put together 4 quarters there.
At Wake. At Wake.
Beat Wake's ass.
No, I don't care. No, that's not true. But also at Wake,
you
need to beat them by 70 points.
I'm with you on this. I'm with you. I've been calling for it for over a year. Yes, let's go. Burn it to the ground.
Burn that stadium to the ground.